Hi, my name is Sunday William Starkey, and whenever you hear the sound of this, turn the page. Wolsely learns to fly, she learned to fly one day, and all the sheep were amazed. This is the story of Woolly Wolsely Williams, the world's woolliest sheep. Wolsely was so woolly that one day, when she tripped at the top of the mountain and rolled down the hill, she bounced like a rubber ball and didn't get hurt. A bird called Bridget noticed this happening and thought it would be fun if she could bounce on Wolsely's wool like a trampoline. "Excuse me, woolly sheep, that looked like fun. Would you mind terribly if I had a bounce on your back?" she asked. Luckily, Wolsely was an expert in animal languages and spoke fluent bird. "Not at all," said Wolsely. "Go right ahead." So the bird flew up high and dropped out of the sky and fell into Wolsely's back and bounced up high again. "Woohoo!" yelled the bird. That was the beginning of a long friendship that Wolsely had with the local birds. It wasn't just the birds that Wolsely was friends with. She was also friends with the farmer's cat. Wolsely's fleece was so woolly and warm that the kitty could sometimes climb into Wolsely's back and snuggle deep down into her warm fleece. It was so toasty there that the kitty was warm and toasty on the chilliest of days. Wolsely was also great friends with llamas in the next paddock. Liam, the llama, was a wise old beast with knowledge of all kinds of science and history. Wolsely often enjoyed long discussions with Liam as he told her about ancient Incan history. Because Bridget flew all over the place, she always knew that what was happening in the neighbourhood. She told great stories of adventure. After a while, Wolsely grew a little jealous. "Oh, Bridget," said Wolsely one day, "I wish I could fly." "Don't be silly, Wolsely," said Bridget. "You don't have any wings. All things that can fly have wings." One day, however, Wolsely saw something flying over the farm that didn't have wings. It was a hot air balloon. It landed in the field that the llamas lived in. Wolsely couldn't believe her eyes. She rushed over to take a look. "What is that thing?" she asked Liam. "That's a hot air balloon," he replied. "How did they make it fly?" asked Wolsely. "Is it magic?" "No," replied Liam. "It is full of warm air that's warmer than the air around it. That makes it float." "I've always wanted to fly," said Wolsely, "but I thought I needed wings. However, my fleece is so toasty and full of warm air, perhaps if I had even warmer air in my fleece, I could fly as well." "Perhaps," said Liam, "but you need to get warm air from somewhere." Wolsely felt a bit dejected. Where could she get warm air from? She was walking around the paddock the next day, chomping on the best and most delicious pieces of grass that she could find, when she noticed something. It was something she always knew but never thought much about. It was a cold day, a dragon breath day. You know, when it's cold, so cold that when you breathe out, your breath is full of steam. "That's it," thought Wolsely. "I'll get all the sheep in the paddock to breathe their hot breath into my fleece. It'll be so toasty that I'll be able to float like a hot air balloon." Later that day, Wolsely gathered all the sheep together. One by one, they puffed their hot puff into her fleece. Wolsely was getting so hot that she started to sweat. When all of the sheep had breathed into her fleece, she tried to fly. She jumped up, but she just fell straight down. Luckily, her fleece broke her foot. Perhaps I need more puff, she thought. So she went over to the llama paddock and asked Liam if he could get all the llamas to breathe their hot puff into her fleece. Now she was really hot. It was almost unbearable. She jumped up, but she fell back down again. Then Bridget had an idea. Wolsely, I've seen the humans doing their hang gliding. To get aloft, they run down the hill and get up speed. Perhaps you should do the same. It's worth a try, replied Wolsely. Wolsely got to the top of the hill and ran down. Halfway down, she pulled her legs up like an aircraft retracting its wheels. It worked! She was flying! She was the world's most first flying sheep. She was so excited. Let's have a party, she said. The birds spread the news around. All the sheep came, and so did the llamas. Even the fairies at the bottom of the garden came. They provided magical hay bales that tasted of whatever you wanted them to taste of. Unfortunately, most of the sheep wanted them to taste of hay, so the magic was a bit wasted on them. They were singing, dancing, and Wolsely knew how to tap dance. She also played clapping games with the other sheep. Their hooves clacked together as they did their high toos. Later that night, after the party was finished, Bridget snuggled down into Wolsey's fleece. All toasty and snuggly in her wool, she had the best sleep that she'd ever had. So did Wolsey. She had dreams of flying all around the world from the Arctic to the equator, but that's another story. The end. Wolsey learns to fly. She learned to fly one day, and all the sheep were amazed.